Starting today's vlog at one of my favorite bagel shops in the whole of Seoul. Obviously it's still hot right now, that's why I'm sweating profusely, but that's just how it is in summer here right now. And here is I Am Bagel. So without any further ado, let's go inside. And they've got a nice screen on the 안녕하세요. So you can order here even if you're not good at speaking. I'm gonna get takeout, and I just love the bagel sandwiches here. To be honest, that's my favorite thing, especially salmon. And you can choose different type of bagel and everything, so everything bagel has to be. You can choose the cheese and everything, it's great. Just about 10,000 won for one. And I'm gonna treat myself and get two. So they also have a crab one as well. This one I'll just get plain with cheese. Total 20,000. A little on the pricey side, of course, but you get what you pay for. Picked up the bagels, really happy about that because even though it's one of my favorite bagel places, they don't deliver to my house because I'm outside of the delivery area. So it's just a treat when I'm in this area. Anyway, we're now in this lovely little park, quite long park actually, but thin park that has some plants and water features. And it is a beautiful day, even though it's super hot. And even though we're going through like a tropical heat wave right now, so it's been 29 days in a row where the temperature at nighttime has been above 25 degrees. Usually quite high above 25, like it's pretty much like 28, 29, 30 even after midnight. The humidity is up at about high 80s, of course. You can hear the cicadas, super loud here. But my favorite thing about this park, I'm not able to show you right now, but this park is actually a cherry blossom hotspot. So if you come here in springtime, it's the park that connects Gongdeok Station and Daeheung Station on line 6 of the Seoul subway. It's absolutely full of cherry blossoms. It's really like a hidden gem when it comes to cherry blossom spotting in springtime. Quite nice in summer as well, quite leafy, and a few plants dotted around. Springtime they also have things like tulips and all that kind of stuff after the cherry blossoms disappear. Yeah, so it's nice to live in this kind of area, I think, with this kind of park, public toilet in the middle as well, useful. And there are also loads of like businesses either side of the park. So there are some pretty big roads either side, and along there are things like restaurants and bars and chicken shops and everything you need. A lot of people come here to walk their dogs as well, just like any park, as you can imagine. I think it's such a privilege to be able to live near a park like this. Okay, not about to do a mukbang for this one, but here are the bagels, and I'm so excited to eat them, so that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I literally just want to show you guys how amazing these bagels look. Absolutely perfect, perfectly filled, cream cheese, salmon in there, lox I think they call it. So excited for this one. Hi guys, it's a new day. I'm currently waiting for the subway. I just missed the subway, so it's going to be a 10-minute wait. I think some of the lines on the Seoul subway are a little bit slow. Line 2 tends to be pretty quick, but this is line 6, which runs across Seoul in the northern part of the river. And if you miss the subway, it's 8 or 9 minutes till the next one, which, I don't know, depending on your country, that might not be a long wait. But I think most lines on the London Underground pretty much every 2 or 3 minutes now, so a 9 or 10 minute wait is quite a lot. And I only need to go about 10 minutes on this subway to get to where we're going today, so it's kind of doubled the journey time. Oh well. So we're gonna head over to Yeoido, which is one of the business districts in the center of Seoul, but has a huge mall that we can check out. Of course, walking up the hills in this area is always a challenge in the middle of summer because it's just so humid and soupy. I can't really explain. I think if you guys are from like Florida or something, maybe you can understand a little bit what it's like. especially in the middle of the city, it's very difficult to breathe actually, because it's just so humid. About 90% humidity today, around 30 degrees. So of course the sweat is pouring. Quick disclaimer before I show you the exterior of the building. Of course, privacy is so important, so don't come here, especially later when he's like moved in and everything. So this is currently an empty building. It's a construction site and he doesn't live here, and he's, I think, in the military service. So don't try and come here, because that's probably quite stalkerish if you do when he actually moves in. We're just having a look at the exterior of the building and the progress of the construction. Here it is, the building. Soon to be probably a famous building here in Itaewon. Nice peaceful neighborhood, even though it's so close to the main strip. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the scale. This is a huge building. This is like much bigger than the average Korean lives in, especially for the location here in Seoul. Most people can only dream of living in such a big building, and of course well deserved, because what a hard worker that guy is. See, on the outside there's some kind of balcony, like a little viewing balcony. I'm not sure the purpose of that. I think he's a smoker, so maybe it's a smoking balcony. You can see at the top there's a rooftop as well, which is really cool. It must have some pretty nice views of Seoul, because we're up here in the mountains, so it's probably got a panoramic view of the whole of Yongsan area. So very cool. And all black, which is quite unusual. If you look at neighboring buildings, they're usually kind of stone or regular brick construction even for the older buildings. But this one has kind of a black wooden cladding on the outside. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can show you, all I want to show. I'm not going to show you inside. The door is open today, but I'm not going to show you for privacy reasons. So yeah guys, just one final disclaimer. Please don't go to the house and cause a scene there. Like I said, it's under construction. It's just a construction site now. Nobody lives there. He's away in the military service. And the purpose of showing you guys is actually so that you don't need to go there. So hopefully by uploading this video, it reduces the need for people to actually go there and see it themselves and cause a fuss in the neighborhood, because other people live here as well. So hope you can understand that. Okay, made it across to the Noksapyeong area of Itaewon right now, just at Noksapyeong station, right? And you can see this area is famous for the K-drama Itaewon Class. So this building right here is where they filmed the exterior of the restaurant featured in Itaewon Class, the Netflix drama, incredibly popular Netflix drama. And so right here they've got a poster that's fading a little bit now, isn't it, for the drama with the two main characters here. And it's actually a real functioning pocha. Pocha is basically a place where people primarily come to drink, but they usually offer some delicious Korean side dishes as well. So it's a bit of a mix. And you have a hike today actually around this area. I think it's time to go and find a cooler spot with aircon. Okay, come inside this Korean convenience store to get a drink. It's so important to stay hydrated in this kind of weather, and generally, but you know, this kind of weather is actually dangerous if you lose too much liquids through sweating like I'm doing right now. So, and this is not product placement, maybe one day, Pocari Sweat is what you've got to get. That rhymes. Gotta get a Pocari Sweat. So I drink a lot of this when I'm in Japan, but they also sell it here in Korea as well. And has a slight citrusy element to it, but it's pretty mild. And most importantly, it's hydrating. So in this weather, absolutely necessary. Okay, drink secured. I'll show you guys a little bit of the Noksapyeong area whilst I'm here anyway. It's a little bit random that I'm here, but I might as well make the most of it. Very chill area here up on the hill with so many different cafes and restaurants and little kind of independent businesses here. You won't find a great deal of chains or anything like that. But some pretty famous restaurants here, especially amongst foreigners, with very authentic Western cuisine that you can't really find in other parts of Korea. I mean, these days you can pretty much find everything everywhere, but at least back in the day, this was the spot to come. back when Itaewon was really a massive cultural hub for the foreign population of Seoul. And you know, that's changed a little bit in recent times since they moved the big American base out of this area and into the countryside, but still a lot of tourists here these days. And always pleasant to walk around in this neighborhood, to be honest. Even on a super hot day like today. I think you guys can count how many times I've mentioned that it's hot. I think you guys get the message now. I'm going to try and refrain because I think you can see visually and you've heard from me enough at this stage. Anyway, let's go to this famous bridge, also featured in the drama Itaewon Class, and it has one of the best views of Namsan Tower. So this is a must-visit bridge if you want to get that shot of Namsan Tower in the background. Let's have a look. It's getting louder and louder because this is a busy highway, but have a look here. Wow, wow, wow. Doesn't get better than that. Namsan Tower in the background, Haebangchon area in the far distance up on the hill, and a lot of traffic going through central Seoul. This is the spot to come and get that all-important selfie here, right at the top of Noksapyeong station. So see this elevator, it goes right down, I believe, into Noksapyeong, and down here is Noksapyeong station, which is where we are going next, so we can get out of here. I'm for a mini tour of Noksapyeong station because this is one of the more interesting stations here in Seoul. It's extremely deep underground, so it's got all these different levels that you need to traverse to get down into the platform. I just took the elevator down a couple of floors and just waiting for the next one here. I'm actually going to take the escalator for the rest of this. There's a really big Korean flag here, which makes for a pretty cool photo spot if you're visiting and you want to take a picture with the Takeout, the Korean flag. And there's also customer service information here as well. And another useful piece of information, pretty much every Seoul subway has an AED inside. So if you're with someone who's in cardiac arrest, then you should come to a subway station and get an automatic whatever it's called, defibrillator. And over here as well, they also have a scale model of Noksapyeong station. So you can see what I mean. It's a very unusual station in the grand scheme of things. You've got the road level here. It doesn't show the bridge that I was on earlier, unfortunately, but there's this glass dome that illuminates every floor of the station with natural light. And then there's all these different floors, try and count them, that go down here before you finally get down into the subway system, which is down here with a little model of the trains for our train enthusiasts. So very cool, very deep station, and so pretty safe place to be if there is some kind of attack, and it's a serious consideration when you're living here in Seoul. You've got to know where to go in case of war breaking out. And tomorrow they actually have a full-scale defense drill or simulation in Seoul. And so at 2 o'clock tomorrow, they will ring all the alarms and people are advised to act how they would if there actually was a war scenario. So people should go to their nearest shelter, which is usually the nearest subway station. Sometimes it's apartment complex parking lots if you're in an apartment, but for most people that's going to be a subway station, and you're supposed to shelter in place during the simulation, just so that people know and people are prepared for the worst case scenario. That's what I shall be doing tomorrow. And finally, we have made it down to the subway station. Still one more floor to go before you actually get to the subway, and you can see our subway will arrive in 4 minutes. Now down on the platform, and whilst we're on the topic of defense and security, every Seoul subway also has this blue box. It might not be blue in every single subway station, but of course, what is in here? Well, a lot of useful things, including smoke masks. So all of these are smoke masks, and you can break the glass and take a smoke mask in case of an emergency that would require it. And there's also some limited oxygen down there, and a couple of bottles of water, and some other emergency supplies. So you might be thinking, why does every subway station have this kind of thing? Well, that's because if there's a fire, very useful if there's a fire to be wearing some kind of smoke protection. And 2, because there have been some attacks in the pretty distant past now by the north in the Seoul subway system, and so this can help people to survive in that kind of situation. But yeah, you can look up the history of that yourself. We're now inside Yeoido station, and check out this cool stuff here. So it says Runner Station. Obviously this is near Han River, so very popular with runners, and they've kind of decorated this whole area. It might be some kind of advertisement for a company. Let's go and check it out. So it looks like it's in here. It says Runners Base Camp, and there's a powder room, a nursing room, I don't think that's related, that's just here anyway, and a fitting room as well. Cool. So they've got some areas here for you to get ready if you've come here to run. And then I don't know what's inside this building, this room, but let's check it out. Oh, it's some kind of fitness center, it looks like. It's nice and cool in here actually. So they've got an in-body machine where you can weigh yourself and check your body fat percentage. I do that sometimes in the gym. And they've also got some touch screens here with information and the Seoul logo, so I guess it's a government project. And they also have some treadmill type things here. They're kind of curved treadmills. Very cool. And most importantly, they've got aircon. The only working aircon in the Seoul subway system right now. And shoes. I'm not sure why they've got shoes, but they do have shoes. Do they have my size? 240 to 280? No, my size is 310. So they're about 5 sizes too small. Not to worry. So check this out if you are in the Yeoido area. And let's exit the station now and head to the mall. Finally made it to the Hyundai Seoul. See this giant grey and red building with several different towers is the Hyundai Seoul, which is one of the newest mega malls in Seoul, South Korea. And it's obviously very huge inside. And the towers are actually office towers, and also they have a very big hotel around here. They've got loads of different entrances. If you come from Yeoido station, you can actually walk all the way through underground, which is probably the better idea than coming from Yeoido station if it's either hot or cold in here, because it's a little bit of a hike. It's a few hundred meters. Yeah, we go inside and check it out. As you'd expect, just like many malls, it's got all the big franchises, all the big designers, every brand you'd expect. Luxury as you first walk in. But it also has some other cool features that I can show you guys. So as soon as you walk in this entrance, at least you've got Saint Laurent, Valentino, Balenciaga over in the distance there. But the coolest thing here is in the center they have this incredible water feature. So I'm sure you guys have already seen this in other vlogs and TikToks and whatever. But there's basically a giant fountain in the center here with a waterfall that drops down. And so this area has become kind of a tourist hotspot in its own right. A lot of people come here to come and take pictures with the water feature, and there's even trees. There's trees on top of the fountain, which makes it look really kind of surreal to have trees inside a mall as well as a water fountain. It's like a little bit of nature, but also not nature at the same time, giving Uncanny Valley a little bit. Great, let's go up and explore. I think from the top down is probably the best way to do this, using the escalator. So here in the center of the top floor, they've actually got a garden concept going on right now. It's actually been going for a little while. I think it's kind of their default setting here. It's a garden theme, but from time to time they'll clear away all the plants and they'll actually do some kind of grand pop-up at this top floor. So I've actually filmed quite a few short form videos here, such as I think there was an Esper pop-up a couple of years ago and a few other things. So this is really an event space, but right now it's a garden, which is nice. And it's so nice and cool in here as well. They've got aircon blasting, which is probably the first time I've felt aircon all day, it feels like. So I definitely want to spend as much time as possible here in the Hyundai Seoul. In terms of noteworthy places to eat or drink here, because that's what we really care about, isn't it? Food and beverages, F&B. Up here on the top floor, you've actually got a Blue Bottle cafe, which I think a lot of Americans will be familiar with, especially on the East Coast. There are a few Blue Bottle cafes here in Seoul right now, actually, because Seoul and Korea is such a big market for coffee. If you want to be a serious cafe, you have to open up branches in Seoul and be competitive. And this place is competitive. They're kind of styled as the Apple store of cafes. So you can see it's got a very similar aesthetic to what you'd find in an Apple store. Kind of clean interiors and minimalist and just a nice space to hang out. So it works pretty well. So I'm overdue a coffee, so I will pop in and grab an Americano whilst I'm here. One of their specialty drinks is actually called the Nola, which is some kind of iced coffee. I've never tried it before, but it could be worth trying. I think I'll stick with a Americano for today, though. And they also have some cool little desserts as well. I think they're sold out. So I have my buzzer waiting for them to make the drink. It shouldn't take a moment because it's just an Americano. And got to try and grab a table. Looks like they're a little bit short on tables, actually. Maybe there's one here. Well, not too sure. It's a bit of a switch to the microphone because it's a little bit loud in here, so I might have to isolate my voice a little bit in post, which is no problem at all. And just waiting for the Americano to come out. It is quite a busy cafe compared to... Now, a lot of cafes are busy here in Seoul around 6 o'clock. A lot of people come after work to have a little pick-me-up or to meet their significant other after work. It's a really commercialized business district, Yeoido. Gangnam and Yeoido are the two main business districts in Seoul, and this is definitely one of the bigger ones. It's ready. So I guess because I'm mic'd up, you guys could actually hear what I was saying for that whole thing, which is pretty cool. But I've now got my drink, and of course it's a paper straw. Every major company has switched to paper now, unfortunately, which is not my preferred medium of straw. I think plastic, they're a problem, but what can we use instead of plastic? Paper is probably not the next best thing, and I think there's already a hole in it. There's a hole in the side, so it's squirted out the side, and it's soaked my hand a little bit, so I need to go and get another straw. And don't worry about me leaving my camera here. Korea is very safe, so I have no worries about people stealing my stuff. But let's go get a straw. I've got another straw, and back to my straw rant. So back to my straw rant, I think the best type of straw that I've ever seen in any kind of cafe at all has to be the biodegradable plastic straws. So those are the ones that are made from plant materials, cellulose or something like that, but it has the exact same texture as a plastic straw and doesn't disintegrate at all and doesn't cause problems and doesn't taste like paper. It's a pretty nice iced Americano, but at a cost of over 6,000 won, that's 3 times what I usually pay for my coffees in places like Mega Coffee or Compose. So definitely you're paying for the experience, you're paying for the maybe higher quality, I'm not sure. You'd have to test it bean for bean. It is good though. And I think the last time I had a Blue Bottle coffee was in Hong Kong airport actually. They had a tiny little Blue Bottle truck, which is one of the cool things that Blue Bottle does. They have these small little spaces, usually with 3 little baristas inside the space as well, somehow squeezing in. And they actually had like a little food truck here in Seoul as well. On one of the islands in Han River, there's a small island with a park. And I remember they had like the silver, I think it's one of their trademarks, like a silver truck type setup with a little cafe inside. That's a really cool idea, and definitely something I would borrow when I have my own cafe franchise in the future. We now come down to the underground first floor, B1, right from the top, obviously via the elevator. And this is basically a food hall, and I think they also have a pop-up space here as well. And the first thing of note down here, they actually have a London Bagel Museum that's opening in October, the 10th month. London Bagel Museum is the most popular restaurant or cafe or whatever, anything in the food and beverage business here in Korea. It's actually the #1 most searched restaurant or cafe or whatever on Naver, which is like the Korean version of Google, last year. So it's super, super popular, And if you go to their main branches, you have to go right in the morning and do like a morning run. And even then, you probably have to wait like an hour or two minimum, even on a weekday, to pick up the bagels. So super duper popular here. And I'm not sure why it's called London. I think they just use the kind of whole Britishness for the aesthetic. But that kind of looks a little bit British, doesn't it? London is a little bit famous for bagels, but I think, you know, when you think of bagels, you usually think of New York more than London. Of course, Brick Lane, we do have a pretty well-established bagel restaurants, don't we? So they've been there for a very long time. But yeah, down here, pretty exciting space, lots of smaller little boutiques and pop-ups and startups and all that kind of stuff. Let's have a look over here. So the Dubai chocolate trend is still going really strong here in Korea. They've got Dubai chocolate offerings at every single place. This one's an ice cream of some sort. Let's take a little look at the... Oh, it's gelato. Some nice looking gelatos down here. It's been a while since I've had gelato. Oh, and this is a cocoa something. I've been to the cafe. I've made a video at this cafe before, actually. It's like puddings in a cup. Coco no Caro or something like that. Very cool. Yeah, I believe their main branch is up in the Hongdae area, Yeonnam-dong. Maybe fish out that video that I made from a couple of years ago of that cafe. Okay, let's carry on, see if we can find something interesting. Over on this side, you have an Oakberry, which is like an acai company from, I guess, America. Or is it Brazilian? I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know. Classic one is about $10, and they have all these different toppings here as well. So you can add things like granola, vegan protein, cacao nibs. All looks rather healthy and fairly popular. I can't say I've tried an acai bowl before, actually. Not much of a trend in the UK, at least when I was living there, but what do I know? I haven't been there in absolutely years. Okay, so now we're kind of into the center of the mall, and they have a huge area for people to eat all these different things because the booths are kind of small. They don't have their own dedicated place to eat, so you just kind of, just like any food court around the world, you get your takeout food and you come and sit in the middle. This is one you'll all be familiar with, Joe and the Juice, very popular back in the UK. And again, I've made a video here as well. A couple times I think I've made tuna cardo videos, so you can go and find those. All right, let's walk through to the far end and see what we've got. Oh, weird. This looks like, kind of looks like British food. Italian and meatballs and that kind of stuff. But look at that. Doesn't that look like a British roast dinner? Roast beef. It's got a Yorkshire pudding. That's British. Very cool. At $25 for a little roast dinner there. Okay, let's carry on through. Conveyor belt sushi restaurant here. Do love a bit of conveyor belt sushi, but I have just got back from Japan, so not craving it too much. Nice teddy bear cafe here. A lot of these cafes and restaurants here in the Hyundai are basically, what they do is a small independent cafe will become popular in Seoul, and you know there'll be lines around the block for this cafe or restaurant or whatever, and then very soon after, the private equity companies will swoop in, give them a lot of funding to open up franchises, so they'll open up their second, third, fourth, fifth branch in the Seoul area, usually in the hotspots like Yeonnam or around Yongsan-gu and of course Gangnam. And then eventually the third stage is they'll find a little franchise place inside these big malls that are owned by the giant mega companies here in Korea, like Hyundai, of course, and Lotte Mall or whatever. They'll actually put like a smaller version of that original cafe, like this one, in the mall. Okay, next we are on to Five Guys, which is super duper popular here in Korea. So I've already made a video about it, but Five Guys is basically new to Korea. I think they opened their first one about 1 year ago in Gangnam. And this is branch number, not sure, 3, 4, 5 now. They're pretty rapidly expanding. And I still haven't even eaten it here because, of course, very well established in the UK. And I used to eat it all the time when I lived in England back in the day. So nothing special for me. Looks very cool. I am mildly tempted to come back here in a little while because I'm kind of getting a bit hungry, so it could be a good option for dinner or takeout. I don't know. I live about half an hour away, so it's probably going to go a bit weird by the time I get back. And unfortunately, or I should probably say fortunately, I'm actually outside of the delivery zone for any of the Five Guys in Seoul, so I can't have it shipped to my door, which is probably good for my waistline and my wallet. Five Guys is not cheap here at all, as you'd expect. I don't think it's cheap in any country at all. Okay, so let's carry on having a look around, see if we can find anything interesting. So here we have a nice little supermarket. Hyundai is actually pretty famous for their supermarkets. They usually do upmarket, kind of, high-end supermarkets, similar to what you'd find in Whole Foods or maybe even Itaewon, but I don't think the prices really match the one in California. But they are very aesthetic. I mean, look at these groceries. These are just individual leaves that are being misted here. They're kind of individually wrapped and portioned vegetables as well. Fruit in Korea is where you usually find the insane prices. I'm not sure if we've got any examples right here today, but I have shown you guys in the past some pretty pricey fruit. I think you have to go over to this section. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, not too bad of a start. These melons, honeydew melons, are about 12 bucks for a small melon, but nothing crazy. Aha, okay, how about these? These mangoes here, you get 2 mangoes in a pack, and it costs 20,000 won, which is about $17 for 2 mangoes. I'm sure they're delicious, but definitely high-end fruit here. And some really special fruit over here as well, I think. You have watermelon. 49,000 won for an 8-kilogram watermelon. It is a rather large watermelon, but that's way over $40 for a single piece of fruit here. You've also got individually wrapped fruit here. So this pear, I guess Korean pear, is more than $20 for 1 pear here. And this is an apple. It's called a golden apple. And again, not more than $20, but about $17 for 1 apple here. So the purpose of this high-end fruit, except just to flex, oh okay, here we go. 1 apple mango, more than $50, 60,000 won. So this mango is probably around $52 in today's exchange rates. Anyway, purpose of this fruit, except just to flex if you're a bored and rich businessman, is actually as a gift. So Korea actually has this cool gifting culture when it comes to fruit around big holidays like Seoul and Chuseok, New Year, and the Harvest Festival. Many people give expensive fruit to people they care about as a gift, whether it's co-workers or family members, and so also meat as well. So fruit and meat, especially around the harvest time, I think it's quite a sensible gift if you really think about it, but we don't have anything like that in the UK. I've never received fruit, veg, or meat in any of the holidays, and I think a lot of people would be disappointed if they got a single mango for Christmas or something like that. It's just not really something we do, but I think it makes sense. What about you guys? Okay, for those who say that it's difficult to find cheese in South Korea, well, if you come to a high-end mall like this, you can find pretty much every single cheese from around the world. You can see a lot of European cheeses here, and Guinness cheddar, and of course British cheese as well. Of course, you're going to pay for the luxury of having this imported cheese, but it's actually not that bad. I mean, have a look at this pepper jack here. It's only about $3, or this British cheddar. Of course, cheddar comes from the UK. Cheddar is a town in England that I've actually been to, and it's just about $5 for this much cheddar here. So it's actually kind of similar to UK prices, strangely enough, as far as I know. Of course, you've got French cheeses as well, and some nice blue Stilton cheese, which people either love or they hate, of course. Quite a divisive cheese right there. You've even got clotted cream here, which is a favorite if you're having scones. Scones are really popular here in Korea, but they don't eat it with clotted cream and jam. They usually just eat it plain, which is kind of upsetting. But that's what they do. And yeah, some other American cheeses and European cheeses. Quite a nice selection here, and pretty okay prices, I'm surprised. So over here there's a rather large line for this pretty discreet and nondescript restaurant here, takeout only restaurant. It's actually a little dessert place. It's called Han Jungsoon, I don't know, or Han Jungsoon. There's no Korean, it just has Chinese characters or English, so I don't know how to pronounce it. But they have basically mochi with fruit on the inside, like, you know, strawberry mochi and all that kind of thing that I'm sure you guys have seen many times before. And they also have a Dubai chocolate mochi as well. So I think that's what most people are queuing up for, because like I've said, Dubai chocolate is super huge right now here in Korea, so everyone's going crazy for it. Of course, I shall not be lining up because I don't do long queues. Nice little florist in this area as well. Love to see it, little cacti and succulents. Okay, so Five Guys is going to be the last stop for today. And it's just takeout only at the moment, so I've got to get it takeout and then take it on the subway, so I feel a bit bad for the other customers. And of course, just like every Five Guys around the world, they have peanuts that are just available to take. So if you have a peanut allergy, do not come to Five Guys because you will die. Okay, so not a long queue at all to pick up the burgers or to order the burgers, which is nice. You can see so many people working hard back there in their red uniforms. Cheeseburger all the way and a little fries, please. No drink, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so just so you guys know the prices of Five Guys here in Korea, it costs 21,800 won, probably about $16, $17 for just a cheeseburger and a small fries. I didn't get a drink. And yeah, we'll see if it's worth it. There's the thing in Korea when there's places where they call your order number. Of course, we're in Korea, they're going to call it in Korean, but you've got to be pretty good at numbers in order to hear it the first time. So, for example, mine's 60, so I've got to listen out for Yukshin, number 60. But in some places, like I've been in a Starbucks where the number is like thousands. Like you've got to be able to count to a very high number, which definitely in my first year here in Korea, I was not at that level. But yeah, sometimes... So it's like number 36. But yeah, sometimes you'll be in like a Starbucks and it'll be like your order number is 5,632. Do you know how to say that in Korean? Maybe you do. A lot of people don't. They've got so many people back there in the kitchen. Let's count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 chefs and cashiers total. That's a pretty big number, isn't it? It's a big operation, but it's a popular burger restaurant here in Korea. When I visited Five Guys here in Yeoido, the Hyundai Mall, maybe 6 months ago, I couldn't get in the door. It was so busy. Yeah, around springtime, so busy I didn't even want to attempt it. Now it's a little bit more normalized. Here at the end of the day, it is dinner time, but you can pretty much swoop in and get your burger straight away. So it's only 7:30 here in Korea, but it's already takeout only. I'm not quite sure why. I'm gonna check their closing time. It's a very early closing time if they're already getting ready to close. So I just checked and their closing time is actually 8 o'clock. So if you come here around 7:20, 7:30, something like that, they're not going to let you sit down. Something to be aware of. Usually places in Korea are open super late, but we are inside a mall, so they close much earlier than normal restaurants outside of a mall situation. I am a little bit nervous about taking this on the subway because I know Five Guys obviously smells really good. So it's a little bit polite, I think, to bring really strong smelling food on the subway system, but there's pretty much no other choice. They don't deliver, so what else can I do? I can't eat it outside because it's 29 degrees and 90% humidity, so would have been nice to eat in. I think mine's coming up soon. They just called number 58, so 60 should be pretty soon. I'm kind of regretting not getting a milkshake now because the salted caramel milkshake is like incredible here. But I think a milkshake on top of a burger and fries would have taken me into probably over 2,000 calories territory and over 30,000 won, which is just a bit too extravagant for a single meal when you're dining alone, especially for a takeout meal as well. If you're paying that much, you at least want to eat in, right, and have the full experience. A lot of numbers being called, but none of them are mine. I really want to eat in, actually. It's kind of unfair. There's a whole 30 minutes before they close. I know they want to clean before they close. But I can woof down this burger in probably 5 minutes, you know? I don't need 30. I can be done in 5. So as I was saying earlier, one of the great things about the Hyundai Mall in Yeoido is that it's connected to the subway station. Only one of the subway stations, Yeoido main station. But in this weather, it's definitely a blessing to not have to walk outside. So that's what I'm doing right now, heading back to the station so that I can go home. And so that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know which parts you enjoyed, which parts you think I should improve, because I know you guys have your own opinions about what you want to see, which is cool. And look forward to the next episode.